Are your handbags starting to look boring? I've heard complaints about luxury handbag designers just copying each other. Well, here's the truth. Yes, they do. Hey friends, it's Michelle. I used to work for Louis Vuitton and I have experience in design. So let's talk about design theory, not just when it comes to handbags, but all consumer goods. Designs versus innovation, design versus gimmick, good design versus marketing. I do have a background in fashion, particularly in product development and product management. And there are so many aspects of getting a product to market. It's not just the designer and the consumer. It actually starts with the product manager to the designer, to the pattern designers, and so many steps in between before that product gets to market. And there's a lot of things that go into it. And I'm going to chime in on what makes a good design. A good design in any product is functional to the consumer, but also looks good. It might be considered minimalist. For example, the iPhone. A great design everyone has, recognizable. In manufacturing, it also has to be easy to produce and bring to the market. This may seem boring once you see it over and over, so we hear people saying basic, everyone has it. Actually, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but in design is in the eye of the designer. Let's take, for example, since I am a luxury handbag channel, the Speedy. It's a very simple concept. One piece wraps around the entire bag, and then two pieces, one on each end, three pieces, folds flat for storage capability, pops up. It's a very functional, seemingly minimalist bag that everyone has, and it's so popular. So we're going to get into these bags, but first I wanted to discuss what constitute good design versus embellishment. So we women, we go shopping and we love to see sparkly things. Embellishments. The bling, the logo, the materials. Okay, so to tell you the truth, that was my job when I was in the fashion industry as a product manager. We often took designs as in patterns that have been used for years and years because they were tried and true, and embellished them with different materials. So you'll see in every brand, like let's just take Marc Jacobs for example, the same pattern with different materials, different colors, crystals, anything that might add value when you look at the product, but the basic overall design is the same. So if you look at the scope of handbags, there really is not much originality in terms of handbags. But does that mean we get to call them basic and boring? So let's take a look back into history to when Louis Vuitton started his career. He made it as a packer, not just a packer, the mother packer of all packers, for Napoleon Bonaparte's Empress Eugenie. So this was kind of a big deal because he was the mother packer of all mother packers. Think of Titanic back in the day when they wore these huge hoop dresses and they had handlers that would handle their 20 trunks that they would pack for their trips across the Atlantic. So it wasn't just like one rolly and one carry-on. It was like a lot of trunks that they had to handle. These trunks used to be made with canvas, water-loving material, and were domed at the top so the water would roll off of them. This is where Louis Vuitton's design innovation came in, and he created the canvas material. It's a 5-step process to create this material that acted like leather and repelled water. So this material would also allow the trunks to be designed with a flat top, which meant you could now stack the trunks much easier than when they were domed. To distinguish his trunks from the others is the damier, the checkerboard. Damier is French for checkerboard. So this is the original Vuitton print. Now this print was created in 1888. It was revived in 1998, its centennial anniversary. So this was the first logo that he used so that when you get off the ship, you could see, hey, that checkerboard is mine. He also used the big V. You might see this on some clothing or stamped like on a passport cover. This old-fashioned V was another way that he stamped his trunks as a Vuitton. This logo that you know so much, this embellishment that everyone's crazy over, was not created until 1896 by his son after Louis Vuitton passed. This is the famous monogram print that everybody seeks after, and when they come into the store, they think this is the original. It's not the original, it's the damier. Okay, so other things that were created by Louis Vuitton at the time, actually created by his son. His son created the S-Lock, which is unpickable. Yes, even back then, people tried to take things that were not theirs. So does this mean today that other companies cannot create trunks and locks that have the same type of function, water resistant, easy to stack, hard to break into? No, literally anybody can. This is just the evolution of design. It's actually just the evolution of humans. Louis Vuitton created a store in 1854, and the whole company was taken away from the Vuitton family in 1989 by Bernard Arnault, who, behind their back, bought up majority shares and kicked the family out. Let's talk about their handbags now, what I feel are just tried and true designs, and this is why we see these over and over, even if though some of us say they are boring. The Speedy, requested by Audrey Hepburn, so she'd have a handbag to match when she was traveling. That's why it has the shape that it does. This bag folds flat, so you can fold it flat when you're not using it, or you can stick it in your suitcase. Some design aspects of the Speedy. One continuous piece of canvas. That's why some of the logos look upside down when you turn the bag around. Doesn't mean it's fake. Okay, a Speedy will never have a seam, nor does it have feet. Now, 1, 2, 3 pieces of canvas. That makes it very easy to cut with minimal waste. There are also no feet. People have asked me about that. I don't really know the answer there, but I do know if you put feet, you need another person to stamp the feet on. Plus, it could mess with the integrity of the canvas. In event, you need to replace the feet. So those are 2 reasons why I see that Vuitton does not put feet on a lot of their bags, to keep the pattern, the design as simplistic as possible. When you have such a simplistic design, it is easy to produce. Of course, we have seen every brand, almost every brand, have their version of this shape, often called a barrel bag. And that's okay, right? Brands borrow inspiration from each other. Okay, let's talk about the Neverfull. Since it has been such a success for Louis Vuitton, this is an example of a good design, even though some of you are saying this is too basic and boring, but there is a reason why everyone has it. The simplicity of this bag. 1, 2, 3 panels, very minimal waste when you're cutting it, very minimal stitching. Vuitton is able to produce a lot of Neverfulls and a lot of Speedies. It has also very minimal hardware. Now, Vuitton and many other brands, they have factories worldwide. So this needs to be something where every single factory can make it the exact same way. When it gets saturated, everyone says, yeah, it's boring. But when I look at this, I think this is why it works. It also folds flat. And FYI, it holds 200 pounds. Don't try it, you'll hurt your shoulder. Because even carrying 40 pounds or 20 pounds can really hurt your shoulder. So don't try to put a 200-pound body in this bag. It's probably not gonna work. Anyways, the minimalistic pieces of this makes it lightweight and functional. So these are design aspects that make it user-friendly, and that's why this bag it just won't die, no matter how boring you think it is. Here it goes. Once you buy your Speedy and once you buy your Neverfull, they've got to get you to buy other things, and it moves up in price. So these are their popular staple basics, and then they'll try to sell you something else. Now, from experience, not all the bags are made or designed as nicely as a Speedy or a Neverfull. But like I said, the company, the salespeople, we are incentivized to make you spend more money. Here are 2 examples of bags that are just okay in design and cost a lot. The V-Tote and the Riverside. Sorry if you have these, but you might notice some of these things. First of all, on the shelf, these bags are heavy. There's a lot of pockets, which the user might think is functional, but once you fill it, it's actually quite heavy. Now, the V-Tote has this V shape and a pocket on the side, which actually it doesn't serve much purpose. They were trying to incorporate the V into the design of the bag. Now, I find these bags really just aren't as useful as something like the Neverfull or the Speedy, and they are heavy. But alas, they did sell because not everyone wanted to have the Speedy or the Neverfull, or they already had it. And we just had to move you into another price point. And honestly, once you start buying luxury, it is addictive and you're going to want more and more. Now, what about the Pochette Matisse? Everyone went crazy over this being the perfect bag. But if you look at her, I mean, she's a boxy mailman type of bag. And most likely everyone wanted it because she was popular on social media. Let's talk about these guitar straps that are like everywhere now. I personally don't like them. So Marc Jacobs actually designed for Vuitton, I think it was 2011 to 14. And then he went back to doing his own brand. But that's where I first saw these on the Marc Jacobs brand. And then Vuitton started to add them everywhere, which I personally don't like. Now you can see how the luxury takes inspiration from streetwear and contemporary brands. Personally, I think every strap on a Vuitton bag should be leather. Luxury should stay luxury, but that's just my personal opinion, and I just don't like these very much. But it's also very cost effective for Vuitton because they are selling you a piece of nylon for a lot of money. But even with the leather, they're selling you a piece of leather strap for a lot of money. Since we're talking about minimal design, like not everything has to be minimal, but there are aspects of design that can be minimalist. Like look at this bag. Let me tell you what I like about this. This is from Ateliers Aguste, but beautiful, effective, simple magnetic closure. You can see the pieces. I love how there's this one piece. There's no stitch here. It's very simplistic. There is no hardware. I personally prefer a bag with hardware just because I like the embellishments. But this is a pattern that this company can take, put some studs on it, and zhuzh it up. By the way, every piece of hardware or stud is an additional cost. And this is why some of the luxury bags you see, they're just so minimal. Now you've seen this shape in like every other luxury brand and contemporary brand. What makes it different? The brand name. The brand name, you guys. That's it. Anyways, that's just my brief overview about design, where it comes from, the design inspiration, what the designer might be thinking when they're creating these things. And then after that, people become super hyper focused on the brand name and the logo and the things that don't really drive the function or design of the bag, just purely the marketing. Essentially, whether you have this bag or this bag, they essentially do the same thing, which is hold your stuff. Like I said at the beginning, we women love sparkly things. So do what is right for you and your aesthetic and your lifestyle, and not for someone else's aesthetic or lifestyle, or what's going on social media, or say this design belongs to this company or that. I just wanted to share that with you today. Lastly, guys, this is super important because as I shoot this video, Maui is experiencing wildfires. Lahaina, city I've visited several times, is burnt to the ground, and these people have lost so much. They've lost everything in a matter of seconds. So I have a luxury bag channel, and I've just seeing people's attitudes and reactions about how much you spent on a bag. Like, it doesn't mean anything when you can lose everything in seconds. Anyways, I've added a fundraiser to this video, so it breaks my heart that people have lost everything. So I hope you can help. I hope you can donate. And thank you for watching my video. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.